Before we get started, a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing shared here should be taken as legal or medical advice, and listening to this podcast does not create an attorney-client or consulting relationship. Every case is unique and laws vary by jurisdiction, so always consult with a qualified attorney or appropriate professional regarding your specific situation. Now that we've got that covered, let's get into it.
Welcome to the Attorney's Resource Legal Nurse Podcast, where law meets medicine. The Attorney's Resource Legal Nurse Podcast spotlights attorneys in personal injury, medical malpractice, workman's compensation, criminal, and healthcare law through focused conversations on their intersection of medicine and litigation. Each episode explores how medical insights strengthen legal strategy, case outcomes, while giving attorneys a platform to share what they really need from legal nurse consultants. The goal in this podcast is to improve collaboration, communication, and effectiveness. Today, we have with us Ian Alexander from Goldberg and Goldberg, trial lawyers in the Chicago area. Ian is a compassionate trial lawyer who believes every client deserves brutal honesty and tender, loving care. Ian has lived and worked in Chicago and its suburbs for more than 50 years. He was raised in the suburbs of Chicago by parents who stressed the importance of family, education, and knowing the difference between right and wrong. He was blessed with the strong role models who taught him the importance of putting the needs of others before his own. He was taught to honor and value the opinions of all people. He was taught to respectfully question anything and everything. He was raised to be humble and gentle in victory, as well as proud and unbending in defeat. He was taught to be a realist. He is an attorney whose wishbone is not where his backbone should be. He learned to have compassion for those who fail. These are the things that have become the foundation of his career as a trial lawyer. Since 1995, he has proudly represented the victims of negligence. He only represents those people who are injured, mostly by big corporations and hospitals. Some of his proudest works are seen by representing children who have been injured at birth and have been left with profound brain damage and the victims of sexual abuse. In the role of lead counsel, he concentrates his practice on representing the victims of catastrophic injuries in the areas of medical malpractice and complex personal injury litigation. He has litigated in this area of practice for over 30 years. He first joined Goldberg and Goldberg in 1999 and became a partner in 2004. He has tried to verdict and or settlement a multitude of medical malpractice, wrongful death, and sex abuse, product liability, aviation, railroad, construction negligence, and other complex personal injury cases. He has recovered hundreds of millions of dollars for his clients. He has been appointed to the Plaintiff Steering Committee in the litigation arising out of the Amtrak Barbonius train disaster, the Hinckley air disaster, and the Oshkosh mid-air disaster, among other litigation. He has published articles and authored book chapters regularly on issues pertaining to medical malpractice litigation. He serves and has served in leadership positions in organizations in the field of personal injury law and other civic organizations. He is a graduate of the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. He earned his BA in 1992. He received his legal education at Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1995. He admitted to practice before the Illinois bar since 1995, the Arizona bar since 2011, and the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois and Southern District of Wisconsin. He is also a member of the Federal Trial Bar, a distinction of prestige and experience created to raise the level of quality and professionalism in federal court, and one that is required of lawyers who wish to appear as lead counsel in testimonial proceedings in federal court in the Northern District of Illinois. He is married to a beautiful and extremely intelligent fellow member of the bar, and together they have two children, and they reside on the North Shore. Welcome, Ian. You have quite the resume and very interesting background and history that I'm eager to dig into with you. I appreciate your accepting our invite to speak to me at the Attorney's Resource Podcast. Welcome.
Well, thank you for that very kind introduction. It probably sounds a lot more impressive than it really is, but I really appreciate the recitation of my sort of work history.
You have it really intrigued me. Your background really did intrigue me significantly as a legal nurse, getting to know different attorneys across the country. One question that I have for you is what inspired you into the areas that you practice in? How did you get to where you are today?
Well, I'll tell you, the way it started is not really the way it ended up. And when I graduated law school in 1995, I came back, I moved back from New Orleans to Chicago. I always knew that I wanted to work near my friends and family in Chicago. And it was a terrible job market. And the job, I just happened to get a job as a personal injury lawyer, but almost immediately um, I connected with the job of being a trial lawyer. One, I love the being on your feet aspect of being a trial lawyer. No case is the same. No day in the office is the same. No puzzle is too complicated, and there's also no puzzle that's unsolvable. And all of those things appeal to my curiosity. And that's a side of me that I've always sort of known was something that would it's something that tickles my brain and makes it so I'm not bored doing the things that I do. So I immediately connected with and resonated a certain kind of connection with my clients doing this kind of work. So I sort of wound up doing it, but I could have done anything else later on, and this has always been, what I was born to do. I'm convinced of that.
It's wonderful to know your purpose. There are so many people that spend a lifetime trying to figure that out. So it's a very unique feeling to know that you're in the right spot. I feel that way about nursing too. And the wonderful thing, one of the things that I have said over and over again is that there's so much similarity between nurses and attorneys in regard to opportunity, change. Nothing has to be the same every given day, why we do what we do, the passion that drives us. So I can completely understand and feel where you're coming from. And it's a good feeling.
I always say I have a job where I get to help people in profound ways and earn a nice living and provide for my family and feel good about myself. What is there another job out there that where I can say that? Maybe I'm sure there are, but I happen to find one.
Right. And I think it's different for everybody, right? We all find our place. But when you know that you're in the right place, it's just an outstanding feeling, and you can go so far when you're serving your purpose. So looking at your areas of practice, what makes where you are unique in comparison to everyone else?
You mean the type of work that I'm doing? We work on the most complex cases, whether they're medical cases or products or transportation injuries. I always say that I work on the most complex issues and I work on the most profoundly catastrophic type of issues. And that our firm is really an interesting because our firm's been around 60 years. And I was blessed to have a mentor who was very, very well known. He's sort of a legendary trial lawyer figure. And we always had the highest quality of work here. And that has been the sort of our hallmark. We don't know, we don't profess to be experts in how to do it, but we're experts in the way that we do it. And we only know one way to do it, and that's to be thorough, to close every door, to shut every window, to take every deposition, to explore every fact. And that lends itself, that sort of detail-oriented paranoia lends itself to doing this kind of work at the highest level, which is what catastrophic, complex litigation requires.
I'm finding it interesting. One of the common themes that I hear from attorney to attorney, and I also hear it in the nursing world, is the keyword mentor. Having someone to help lead the way. Was your mentor a valuable tool or aspect or relationship for you as you grew in your practice?
Yeah, so I had a mentor. He passed away about a year ago, but
I'm sorry.
was he was the most influential part of my career. We used to, I mean, we joked around. He said he was, my Jiminy Cricket. And for those of you that know the story of Pinocchio, Pinocchio always he wanted to be a real boy, and a real boy needed a conscience. And my mentor, anybody can learn the rote skills, but to humanize those skills and apply them in a compassionate way across every aspect of your practice, that's not something that everyone can do. And all of my clients get two things from me: brutal honesty and tender loving care. And that's what I learned from my mentor.
That's wonderful. I have had mentors throughout my lifetime and my career as well. It's something I continue to do with those in nursing, is offer that mentorship and encouraging others, especially in the area of legal nursing, to seek out mentors that can help keep them on that right path. So it's an interesting concept that I'm hearing more and more about from all of those that have succeeded in their professions, that they really did have strong mentors and relied on them heavily. So it's nice to hear you say that. So when we look at,
You know, I
yeah,
think I was just going to say, let me add something. I don't think I think everybody wants a mentor. I hear this from young people too. They want mentors. I don't think it's something you can just go out and shop for and say, I need a mentor, and then start talking to
mhm,
people. It doesn't work that way. The reason I was lucky enough to have a mentor that was meant so much to me is that I was open to having a mentor, and my mentor, that attracted my mentor to me. If I would have just sought out a mentor and said, I need a mentor, I never would have found one. That wasn't what would have happened. I had my mentor for 28 years of my
wow.
practice, and that's a long time. And I learned lessons up until the very end from him. So, that's how I look at it. I wanted to add that because
Mhm.
I hear so often from people, how do I find a mentor? I don't know. I don't know. I think by your actions, you just have to be open to it.
You do, and you build relationships. I think good mentorships, stem from establishing a relationship, a willingness to learn. So I agree with you, and I'm glad that you added that point. When you take a look at how you litigate, how do you utilize your experts? What role do they play in your case litigation?
Well, I only know what I know. So, let's just talk about medical litigation specifically. I'm not a doctor. My brother's a doctor, and he always jokes that I know just enough about medicine to make all the wrong sort of assumptions about things. And so what I rely on my experts for is sort of to give me the framework of what an issue is or is not and what it means. But a lot of times, because of the necessity of being extremely thorough in researching something from the legal side, a lot of times I'm able to go above and beyond the initial evaluation that an expert would give me, and tell me that a direction, and I can point things out to them. And then once, we get deep into the weeds of any given case, um, that becomes more of a collaborative process with the experts. But on initial case evaluation or review, I know when something seems like it's not correct or right. And so that's the part where I know just enough. And then I rely on experts to sort of give me the framework that I can run with.
Okay, so looking at that relationship with the expert, then you're bringing them in initially, but you engage them more thoroughly in a deeper type of collaborative relationship as the case goes on. Do you find that to be valuable to you and the expert? The ongoing conversation, collaboration about the casework, or am I misunderstanding that role for you and the benefit that they serve?
It's absolutely a great benefit to me, and I'm sure to the expert. You know, we used to. I always empower experts and say, and one of my mentors taught me, you know, an expert is the king. And there was a saying in France, "Le roi dit," the king says, and an expert says something because he's the king, he's the expert, "Le roi dit." You know, but what I've learned as I've become more experienced is that there are ways to say things that are more impactful. And so while the truth of a given fact might be foundational, the way that it is expressed is meaningful in different ways depending on the expression of the fact. And so that's one of my strengths is to be able to explain to people, to explain to jurors what doctors are saying, and to explain to doctors what jurors want to hear and how they want to hear it. And so I always say, I translate what they have to say into lawyer. But what I really should be saying is I translate their words into human being.
Interesting. I like that. You then can get to the emotional uh, feelings of the jury, of others in that room as well, by converting that to the human being. That is a area that I have conversed with different legal nurses about. Some out there believe that they are advocating in the cases that they are working on, and that's simply not true. The attorney is the advocate, and that advocate piece does humanize the experience. From my perspective, working as an expert, our role is to provide you with the facts, all of the details, so that you can do that effectively. So it's nice to hear that said in your answer to that question. Thinking about AI and your experts, how is AI impacting the relationship with experts, the way you litigate your cases? Is it a tool that you're utilizing in your legal area?
Yeah, well, I'd say if I'm using baseball as an analogy, we're in the first inning when it comes to AI. I have no idea how it's going to change my practice. I know it's going to change my practice, but I don't think AI is going to look anything close to the way it does 12 months from now, let alone 10 years from now. And we'll be doing things that we didn't imagine because nobody thought of them. So yeah, AI is great if you're looking for a way to scrape content or get information or, make medical illustrations look a certain way. That's all great, but that is so foundational. You know, someone showed me from a back end perspective a program that would take data, let's just say medical records that have been sort of sandboxed so they're private and protected, and will do things that would take, 10 of my employees to do. They can do it in minutes. And that is going to be the real value for AI is the process time that gets saved. And then that's going to have to be balanced against what's the expense in terms of just, for our practice and then for the world to run all these processes through AI, some of them probably unnecessarily. And what's that going to cost in terms of energy and human creativity and different things like that? We just don't know.
Right.
So here's what I can tell you. AI is going to change everything. Is AI going to be able to walk into a courtroom and explain something to a jury? No, but it might give me some ideas or some tools or some props. I'm not worried about my job, but I think that there are a lot of jobs that are going to change.
Sure, I agree with you. From working in the expert role myself, I think about how I could cause an issue potentially for an attorney through the use of AI. So when making choices and the way I review my casework, I think about making sure that my clinical judgment is protected, my critical analysis is protected. Have you had any situations where AI was utilized and potentially hurt your case?
No.
No.
No, I
Okay.
haven't had any situations like where somebody said, "Oh, I relied on something I found on ChatGPT," because frankly, I don't work with people that would do that. If
Right.
anybody did that, if I hired an expert witness and then he said one of the things he did was put, protected health information into AI and ask it what the clinical, not just what the clinical outcomes should have been, but what were the standard of care, steps that needed to be. That isn't someone that I want to work with. I want
Right.
to work with people that already know what they're doing and don't need to, when I ask a cardiothoracic surgeon, what can you repair a Stanford type, 2 or whatever it's called, aortic dissection? Or whatever it is, Stanford B. I need them to know that, not go to AI and figure out if they know that. So I've never had that issue. And frankly, if I do have that issue, that's not an expert I really want to work with.
Right. I'm hearing
But I
that.
hope all the defense experts use AI. So
Yes. Yep.
I don't want to
I'm
discourage
hearing
all
that
the
too.
defense experts. I hope they all use AI. I hope they all
That's
use
funny.
AI so I can cross-examine them on it.
Well, there are some benefits, such as, for organization, but definitely not for critical thinking, clinical analysis, and to replace your skill set. That I agree with you there that it devalues the work product that is coming forward significantly. So, looking at legal nurses specifically, how do you utilize legal nurses, and what advice would you have for legal nurses who may want to work with you?
I work with excellent legal nurses. Now, putting aside the work that, sometimes I have nursing issues in my cases that, I use a legal nurse as a testifying expert witness. But just in terms of how I work with them on a daily basis, I oftentimes have them organize my medical records, do chronologies, give me legal nurse opinions. Listen, I wouldn't ask a legal nurse their, opinion about using like a cardiothoracic issue that's a doctor's, but I would, they can help steer me in the right direction, and it is a much more cost-effective way to analyze something at the early stages of litigation, run it by my legal nurse consultant than sending out 10,000 pages of records to, a doctor to abstract in India or, that's how we used to do it. It would take, forever, or
Right.
to have, somebody that's charging me $1,000 or $1,500 an hour go through all the records. I find it's a value proposition for me. And I find that, legal nurse consultants they're the ones I work with are very thorough and call it like they see it.
Hmm. Oh, that's our role, to be truthful and honest in all that we do. So that fulfills our standard code of ethics as well. So, looking at your time in practice, if you could go back 30 years, what advice would you give to the new attorney?
What advice would I don't rush it. Don't try and rush, getting to the next stage of your career. Take your time to learn to do things the right way. You'll save a lot of time and you'll save a lot of aggravation. Um, Spending the time early on, especially before I had a family, I could burn the hours learning to do something. It was much less costly to me. The time was much less costly when I was younger. Now my time is so valuable, um, not because I charge a lot of money. That's not what I mean. I mean, my time is valuable that on my free time, I want to spend it with my kids, my wife, my dog, my friends, and I don't want to spend, I don't have the same time to learn things, learn how to do things the way I did when I was a young pup.
So use that time as in your youth to learn as much as you can so you can afford to be with your family in that time, or to are you indicating to find a way to balance that right from the get-go?
Well, I didn't balance it to be, I worked crazy hours when I was young, and but it has allowed me to learn the importance of balancing uh work and life. I have a lot of outside interests. I love music, I love golf, I play guitar. I want to spend time learning how to do those things. I'm a terrible guitar player, but I want to spend time doing it to learn because like I said, tickles a side, some things tickle a part of your brain that's never been tickled before. And that to me, especially as I'm getting older, is a worthy experience. And so I want to spend what free time I have doing other things, and spending the time early in my career has allowed me to be able to do that.
I think that takes us right back to the human factor, the humanization of what we do, that our life isn't just about the career, that we need to make sure we carve pathways for enjoyment and building other aspects of ourselves. And actually, that can impact, I believe, our career immensely and improve our outcomes. Do you agree with that? Or
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, I had a conversation with my daughter, and my daughter was joking with me when I was playing golf during the summer. And I played, let's say on a Thursday afternoon, I played golf, and she said, "Oh, well, you're not working." I said, "No, you're not getting it. Everywhere I go, the work is there. The work follows me. I'm just better at doing the work. And it makes me a better person, a better lawyer when I have a way, an outlet, an escape, when I'm collaborating with other people, when I'm socializing, all the things that you can't do when you don't have the foundational skills early in your life. Those things sort of you grow into them, and you're right about the humanity part, because not everybody is a human. And I mean, obviously we're all humans, but not everybody can take their professional life and humanize it. I see it all the time in my practice that the people I know that are the most successful are the people that have figured out a way to inject humanity um, in the way that they do things. And I'll just give you an example. Like 20 years ago, I just decided I was not going to be a hard ass anymore. And there's not a lot of benefit you get out of being a dick and treating other people like a dick. It doesn't work. And so for me, I'm not going to be a jerk to people. And that's the human part.
Mhm. Right now, I'm practicing the role of service. So, how to be of better service to others in my career and in my personal life. So, I get that. The more people that we can touch in a good way, as far as, how we can help others, actually opens up an opportunity to what I'm finding is that the schedule seems to work better. It flows better. Time is more focused when we're taking the uh, focus off of ourselves and putting it onto others. And it's helping the achievement in practice and betters our work all the way around. So I completely agree with what you're saying, and I can relate to all of that. For our listeners, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me at my office if you need me. I respond to emails or texts or whatever. My law firm is called Goldberg and Goldberg LLC. We've been around. If you Google my name, Ian Alexander or Goldberg and Goldberg, you'll find us. We're here also to be of service to the community. So anybody that wants to find me in Chicago or nationwide, reach out to me. You can get me. And I'm always want to help people and collaborate with other lawyers and other people that are victims of malpractice or negligence. I'm here from you. And you can, I don't need to toot my own horn. You can read all about my firm and our accomplishments, on the website.
Thank you, Ian, for being a guest today on the Attorney's Resource Legal Nurse podcast. Do you have any final message that you would like to send to the audience before we exit today?
No, I appreciate the time that you've spent with me. And it's always nice to talk to people. And if I can, God willing, help someone in a deep, dark, and difficult time in their life, even if it's not representing you, even if it's just to give you advice on something, feel free to reach out to me because my overarching principle in life is to heal the world. It's called Tikkun Olam, and I want to do my part to help heal the world. And so thank you for allowing me to have a place to do that.
That's wonderful. And I am very grateful again that you have accepted our invite. For listeners, please take time to listen, like, download, and share the Attorney's Resource Legal Nurse podcast. You will hear Ian Alexander and our conversation. It's been a wonderful conversation. So we would like you to share that with others in your network and allow for the opportunity for referrals or access to Ian to help him fulfill his goals as well in this career path of his.
If you have found this episode valuable, be sure to like it, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a colleague handling medically complex cases. If you are an attorney looking for deeper medical insight to strengthen your case strategy, or you are a legal nurse ready to elevate how you support litigation, I invite you to connect with me and learn more about UpVision Consulting LLC in the show notes, because stronger collaboration leads to stronger outcomes.